It's the Orioles on Masson. We're at Tropicana Field, indoors, raining outside, but comfortable inside as the Orioles and Rays get set to play the middle game in this three-game weekend series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. Thanks so much for joining us. The Orioles coming off an uplifting win last night as they shut down Tampa Bay by a final of 2-0. And it was one of those nights where all the facets of the game were working. Orioles got some timely hitting to get a lead. The pitching was outstanding as they kept the Rays off the scoreboard. And, oh, yes, the defense was on display. And in a game in which you win 2-0, you have to make plays, and the Orioles did behind it. And following the game last night, all the post-game chatter was about that tremendous defensive game.
I thought it was a good defensive game for us. Gent made a good play in the left, and Manny and John, and I thought Danny made a big play down the line. We had the infield in with two out, with nobody out, and we were able to keep them from scoring.
Being able to pick up a couple extra outs like that really makes a difference in the game. And you know, as good as anybody else, we got a great defense, and so to be able to work with them and allow them to do what they do every day is great.
So bottom of the first, Brad Miller after a double. He's the tying run, and David Hess turns and picks him off. That eliminates that threat. Bottom of the second, Malik Smith, a delayed steal attempt, and Andrew Susak with a bullet to scope to get him at second base to retire the side. Bottom of the fourth, ball gets away from Susak. Joey Wendell tries to go to third, and he was out by plenty. Another fine throw by Susak. Then maybe the bigger plays in the game, bottom of the fifth. Malik Smith at third. Look at the play by Valencia, keeping him at third. Then with the infield drawn in, Johnny Field, he gets it to Machado, who looks the runner back to third, gets Field at first, and then Rob Refsnyder, a ground ball to the shortstop. Machado gets it over to first, and David Hess gets out of the jam. So the defense on display in all those plays within the first 5 innings of the game. And Jim Palmer, if you're going to win a game 2-0, you better make some plays behind the pitcher, and the Orioles did all night long.
Well, we've seen that since Chicago, because the first game that the Orioles play in Chicago, and Castro was pitching, who's going to pitch today, they get him out of trouble with what? With relay plays. 2 outs, you know, one relay to Manny, and you get the other great throw, the assist by Trey Mancini, 2 assists in 1 inning. So you win that game 3-2, and you're right. You know, the Orioles have only won 7 games on the road, 7 out of 28. So they're looking for wins, and you usually don't do it. And you know, we used to always talk about the little things. Well, the little things, they helped them win the game in Chicago. It was easy kind of to win Thursday. Monday's winning, striking out 14, you get 10 runs on the board, but that wasn't the case last night. You had to do the little things, whether it was David Hess throwing strikes, not letting the game speed up, and you get that runner at third, as you talked about, in a 1-0 game early on, the tying run with nobody out. He didn't overreact, made some great pitches, and the defense did their job. Well, it's certainly uplifting to win a game by the final of 2-0. In fact, Jim, it's very rare. Orioles, for the first time this year, able to win a game. Well, we talked again, you know, they're 0-18, 2 runs or less. Gives you an idea. Most clubs don't win a whole lot of games where you only score 2 runs. Again, you know, they were the last team to do that. And then you have to go all the way back to the 2-1 win September 13, 2017. And there are the road numbers, and this is why you're 7-21. You're scoring 3.57 runs, and you're giving up about a run and 3/4 more. So that's gotten a little bit better. That's why they you know, won the close game in Chicago, and then again last night. You hope that trend continues. Now, David Hess last night, he was outstanding. In fact, he got 6 2/3 innings in, and then he handed it over to the bullpen. Bullpen kept stranding runners, and what a year Richard Blyer is having. He has really become the most consistent reliever in that pen. Well, he really has. You know, obviously, if you had O'Day and you had Britton, you'd have one of the best closers and one of the best setup guys. So all of a sudden, this bullpen, you would have maybe 3-4 guys you could really trust. Blyer, they got him for a player to be named later. He throws nothing but strikes. He doesn't strike a whole lot of people out. He doesn't get upset. You know, he comes in with a runner in third with a 1-0 ball game, and you know, right here he gets the ground ball, and he gets Crone. He gets behind him. He said, I was willing to walk him, but he swung at a 3-1 cutter, pops up. There's your second out, and then he gets a rare strikeout. You know, good matchup. In fact, you know, Wendell, he's not hitting very well with runners in scoring position. He doesn't overreact. Doesn't again let the game speed up. And he just goes about his business. I call him the golden arm. Saw him today. I said, the golden arm's back. He goes, well, I am. So, again, he is what he is. He understands that. He's not a power guy. They've used him in some tougher situations. So he's given up a few runs, but you bring him in a clean inning, he's going to throw strikes and make the other team beat him. And that's what you want. Yeah, he's an interesting reliever because he will give up his share of hits, but he has the ability to get out of jams and leave those runners stranded. Well, yeah, and that's what happens when you're missing a Britton who can throw a ground ball with the bases loaded or strike people people out, or you get O'Day, who averages over 11 strikeouts per 9. You have certain guys. So because of those injuries, you probably had to, and Buck Showalter knows this, he's had to bring him in different situations. You know, Givens has been used a lot this week. So, you know, Blyer proved again he's back on track. Had a very good inning. And again, you don't win those 2-0 ball games very often.
So the O's going for a win today, which would assure a series win here at Tropicana Field with Andrew Kashner on the mound. We're coming back to the Trop. Lineups in first pitch are next. With nothing to hide, that's transparency. Yes, it is raining outside in St. Petersburg, Florida, but we are inside. Our game time temperature brought to you by BGE Home. We know more, we do more. Well, outside it is 73 degrees, and as you saw raining, there's the wind, and that humidity way up there at 93%. But inside Tropicana Field, it is a very comfortable, climate-controlled 72 degrees. So the Orioles come in looking for back-to-back wins. And here is the Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Mancini, Jones, and Machado up top with Jonathan Scope in the cleanup spot. Jonathan now with a 5-game hitting streak, including a home run in last night's game. Valencia is back at third. Then Davis DHing today. Rickard Susak and Craig Gentry.
So take a look at Ryan Stanczyk. He's coming in. I mean, he was a former #1 draft choice. You can see the four-seamers. He's about 10 miles per hour harder than Romo, who started last year out of their bullpen. You can see the slider. That's his biggest swing and miss. When he does throw it, they swing and miss at 27, but that's a hard slider. It's in the upper 80s. You know, former, as we mentioned, #1 draft choice out of the University of Arkansas. He's got a great arm, and what they're trying to do is match up in the first inning or so. This will be his first major league start, but through the minor leagues, you know, he started, what, 41 games? You know, he's one of those guys, your #1 draft choice, 3-pitch pitcher. You see if that's going to play better out of the bullpen or as a starter. They made the determination until this year when they traded some guys and they've had some injuries. He's going to be a guy that comes in late in the ball games.
Yeah, Stanek, in fact, becomes the 10th different starting pitcher for Tampa Bay. And the Rays today are playing in their 50th game. So 10 different starters in 50 games on the year. And that is now the most in the major leagues. The Angels, Arizona, and Miami have all used 9 different starters, but Stanek becomes number 10 for the Rays.
Yeah, Kevin Cash trying to get an edge. And so what does he do? You know, He brings the bullpen in. They have one of the lower, I think the 4th best lowest batting average in the 1st inning of any of the teams. Astros are number 1. Actually, the 3rd, Washington Nationals, and then the Rays at 260 along with the Yankees. So what are you trying to do? You're trying to, pitch well early, and then hopefully that makes your offense better and get out of the first couple of innings, and then go to your starters.
So here's Mancini, and swings through it. We are underway. See, the Orioles are wearing the Memorial Day weekend uniforms with the military theme. Pretty sweet looking green cleats there and the camo shirt underneath. Trey is looking to bust out of it.
Yeah, that's that hard slider, and he overthrows it, but velocity is good. The Orioles trying to make it 3 in a row on the road,
which would be a first. And it's chopped towards 3rd, and right there is Matt Duffy. Mancini's out and 1 away.
Yeah, take a look at their defense, and Ref Snyder, former infielder, he's playing left. Smith, Carlos Gomez comes off the disabled list. He was on the DL with a groin problem, so he comes back in. Duffy, Robertson, Wendell, Miller, who play all over the place. Ramos, the catcher, the big guy, having a good May.
And here's another hitter having a good May, Adam Jones.
Memorial Day weekend, Dan Duquette's 60th birthday.
Ooh, he joined the club.
Yep, trying to catch Buck Showalter, who turned 62. I think earlier in the week. It's not going to happen.
Adam Jones, he is finding his stroke. How about back-to-back 3-hit games?
Yeah, well, and again, this is still the most impressive. Engel trying to catch it, but hit it into the wind about 440. Just staying on the ball, not trying to overswing when you get your pitch, driving it. And again, this guy throws so hard. The average fastball is 97.9, so I'm going to put that 98 on my scorecard. That's he'll supply a lot of a lot of power, so you don't have to overswing.
A little late on the swing, so Jones down 1-2. Well, Stanek is from Stillwell, Kansas. He grew up in farm country. In fact, his grandparents have a farm. I'm sure he stays in shape by doing some of the farm chores.
Well, a big way he could. I know in the old days, up in Cooperstown, I used to talk to a lot of guys. That's what they did. Because they were either hunters or Red Shandish. I'm at dinner one night, and I'm with Whitey Ford and Yogi and Pee Wee Reese was actually on the next table, but I'm with Phil Rizzuto, and I said, when did you finally start to feel old? And they were saying like 80, 81. Yogi said, I still don't feel old. It's probably about 10 years ago. And then next day I played golf with Red Shandish, and I said, when did you? He said, well, the year I was 76, and the reason I did it, I lived on a farm, and I used to hunt. And when I got to be 76, when I used to walk 5 or 6 miles a day, which is the way he got ready for, I guess, this season, and coaching as he has all these years, could finally feel it. So yeah, a lot of in the old days, that's what guys did in the off season. Yeah.
So are you suggesting Dan Duquette is going to start feeling old?
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about
the farm guy.
Ryan Stanek. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Dan.
Yeah.
See, I get to join that club later this year.
No.
The 60, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But it'll be low key because it'll be in the off season.
Yeah. Well, you timed it right. Wow.
And Stanek finally gets Adam Jones on a 2-2 pitch.
Well, this is why, number one, you could see that he was the 29th pick in the 2013 draft, because he's got an arm. That's a four-seamer. And he had some pretty good swings, a little bit late on him, but you try to read the bat and you're going, okay, I'm not going to speed it up with a slider, see if you can hit my best fastball at 100.
Goes 6'4", 215. Here's Manny. Manny has cooled off a little bit over the past 4 games. He had those back-to-back hitless games in Chicago, then 3 hits in the finale against the White Sox. Last night he took an 0 for 4. So if you look at what he's done lately, And that knocks off the mask of Ramos.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. Wilson, watch this. Takes it and just reaches back. Give me the ball. That's what I do. And he's asking him how he is.
So a 99-mile-an-hour fastball fouled into the mask of Ramos. And Manny just 3 for his last 17, which is a story because he's been so consistent.
Well, as you mentioned when you did the lineup, Scope's getting a little bit hotter, so now you have a little more protection. But why would you really pitch the way this, you got Jones in front of him. Of course, he's getting on, so maybe you have to pitch to Manny. But he'd be the guy in the meeting to say, hey, don't let him beat you. And then right here, when you're throwing 101. But this is why Kevin Cash went to the bullpen. Romo's a slider guy. We talked about that last night. He gave up a run, though, in a 2-0 ball game because of the strikeout and then the wild pitch. Slider bounced in the dirt, and Ramos didn't keep it in front of him.
And he gets Machado. So a 3-up, 3-down inning, back-to-back Ks. We head to the bottom of the first. Cashner goes to work. To Tappy, you see Scotty McGregor on the right. He drove down from Sarasota, where he runs the pitching part of extended spring training. And Fred in August will be inducted into the Orioles Hall of Fame, and he'll join us during our telecast today, so that'll be fun. Here's the Rays lineup: Miller, Cron, and Wendell with Wilson Ramos in that cleanup spot. 6-game hitting streak for the catcher. Duffy, Smith, and Robertson with Gomez back, and Ref Snyder batting ninth.
So Andrew Cashner got the win in the 3-2 game. Left with a 3-2 lead and able to win.
Fly ball to left center on the first pitch. Jones will let Gentry take it, and 1 pitch, 1 away.
Yeah, so looking at Andrew, a month between wins, they don't score him a lot of runs. He hasn't pitched up as well as he'd like. Much better on the road than at home. And then you start looking at the numbers, and they're really not that bad. Home runs are up dramatically through 15 and 28 starts last year, 11 already. And as we mentioned, 0-4 at home. On the road, 2-1 with a low ERA. I mean, it's kind of an irony because the Orioles don't play well on the road, but he pitches better than. So again, it's not about stuff. It's usually about lack of run support, and then what happens the third time through the lineup.
C.J. Cron, 2 for his last 20. And he has cooled off since we saw him last in Baltimore. And Cron does have 11 home runs, and last year as an Angel he didn't hit number 11 until August 29th. So he's 3 months ahead of his pace.
Well, he's getting to play. We talked about that last night. He had Albert Pujols, in the midst. Well, 600 home runs, 3,000 hits, you name it. He's going to get to play. And now with Ohtani, Ohtani's doing a lot of the DHing. No place for him.
That ball will fall in for a base hit, so he slices it the other way for a 1-out single.
So take a look again early on, and the ERA livable, still not where you want to be, but much lower. Last year 170 with runners in scoring position. This year 158. I mean, that was for the whole amount of innings he pitched, and you can just see everything goes up once you get into the 5th inning. And then look at that, 221, 214, and then 426 the 3rd time. Dramatic increase. So the good news is he's pitching the 3rd time through the order. The bad news is just not pitching as well as he would like.
Gets ahead of Joey Wendell, so he's strike 1 to the first 3 batters.
Yeah, he's faced 54 batters the 3rd time through an order, and as you saw, they're hitting 426. So, and the only way you can get that number down is pitch later in the innings here, and then just pitch a little bit better. Certainly capable. He's got curveball, slider, changeup, cutter. And there's a nice 2-seamer.
Cashner coming off a win in Chicago. He had the Monday game, first game in that series. Orioles won it 3-2, and he lasted 5 innings. Allowed only 2 runs despite 8 hits, but 96 pitches to get through those 5 innings.
Well, he cruised through the first 4, so to speak. It was 3-0 at the time.
That ball is hooked down the line, and that is a fair ball in play. And Rickard has to run it down. Cron is heading to 3rd. He will be sent. Joey having trouble getting that ball. Stokes throw to the plate, not in time, and it's a triple for Joey Wendell.
Yeah, it was a slider down and in, so it speeds up the bat, and all Wendell has to do, Joey just drops the bat in, and he hits it down the line. And of course, if you're Andrew Cashner, you're hoping it hooks foul, but it doesn't. So take a look right here. You can see where the target is. It's down and in, so he just drops the bat. And this is where you get unlucky. Now Wendell can run, Cron can't. Watch it hit the top of the fence and then kick right. So it doesn't come to where Joey Rickard is, and that's why Cron scores all the way, even though it's somewhat close. And then Wendell with his great speed. But right here, he knows it's going to be extra bases. He's a home run guy. He gets around there pretty good. And then because of the carom away from Rickard, it allows him to score the first run.
So 1-0 with Wendell at 3rd. Birds will have the infield drawn in, and Ramos takes ball 1.
Yeah, these are one of these plays you do, because if Wilson Ramos does get on, he's not going to steal a base. So you're hoping that you have a ground ball pitcher when he's pitching well, and Andrew Cashner, he'll throw a grounder. But the important thing is that you don't look for a strikeout, and you don't get into a big inning. And that's what David Hess was so impressive. When he did get in trouble, he had the tying run in the 1-0 ball game, nobody out at 3rd. A lot of young pitchers will say, well, I'm going to go strike this guy out, and then you end up walking him. He didn't do that. Just made quality pitches, got 3 ground balls, got out of the inning. Yeah, great pitch there, changeup, fastball count.
So Jim mentioned the run support for Cashner, and he is the lowest supported of the Orioles starters at 293. In fact, that's the 5th lowest in all of Major League Baseball, and it's the 2nd lowest in the American League. Only Matthew Boyd of the Tigers has worse run support than Cashner. He falls behind 3-1.
Well, we get these notes, and one of the notes from the Orioles notes is that he's 36-10 if he gets 3 or more runs. 3 or more. Now 4, we know that would be a good record because that's the magic number. But if you get him 2 or less, he's 3-50.
Well, 3-1 at Ramos with Wendell at 3rd. And there's a base hit the other way, just slapping it down the line. Wendell will score. Ramos is trying for 2. The throw from Rickard is offline. He slipped off the base, and Machado applies the tag. He didn't slide, and his cleat slipped off the bag. That's a big out for the O's. 2 down, but the run does score.
Yeah, you're right about poking it, and then get to it, try to make a throw. You never know what's going to happen. You're right. Kind of hit the bag. The guy 2 years ago had a major ACL tear, so he's coming back from that, and the speed has really been diminished. but he does get the second run in. But they run themselves and they give Cashner the second out here in the first inning, and you're looking, and you don't want to give up 2 runs, but you also have to get out of the inning some way. He helps that out.
Strike 1 to Matt Duffy. So that is the 4th out the Orioles have been able to get on the bases in this series. Check swing, they appeal. He didn't go.
Well, this is what Mark Wagner down at first is looking at. Certainly could have been a swing. Collapsed his arms, but it's how far the bat head goes. Wow. He's going to look in after that. He got in trouble to Wilson Ramos because he went to that 3-1 count, and even though he just flicked it down the line, he could look fastball. And we know Duffy's a good fastball hitter. I would imagine he's going to get one to hit here.
Right there for a called strike. Count goes full. 9th season now for Andrew Cashner, first with the O's. And a called strike 3, got it on the corner. So the Rays get a couple, none left. We head to the second. O's come to bat, down by 2. And we'll win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit today. You could play Home Run Rich's scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter those non-winning tickets for a chance to become the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/homerun. The Ray tank out in right center field, as you see, always popular with the fans, especially the younger fans.
Can you pet the Rays? You ever been out there?
I've been out there, but I'm not sure about that. Scope leads off. And last night, 2 for 4 and a big home run. It made a 1-0 game a 2-0 game.
It's funny. Ryan Yarbrough said, "I really pitched really well, except for this. It was really simple. I threw a fastball down the middle, and Jonathan Scope hit it. That's what he does." One of the few really drivable pitches that Yarbrough actually threw. He pitched very well, struck out 8, only gave up 7 hits. Certainly gave them a chance to win, but again, the Orioles win exactly what the scoreboard says you right now, 2-0.
Jonathan has hit in 5 straight games. Won't chase.
Yeah, his changeup, and I think that was the changeup, is almost 90. But he's got a great arm. Again, you know, if you're sitting at home, you're going, why doesn't he start? Because he's a power guy. And we saw that in the first inning at what, 100?
101.
Yep. And there's another changeup.
Changeup at 90.
Yep.
Stanek pitched at the University of Arkansas, made his big league debut last year. He got into 21 games of relief for the Rays last year, pitched to a high ERA of 5.85. There's Anthony Banda, who will replace Stanek when Chris Davis comes up. Scope goes down on strikes at 99.
Yeah, so they're going to let him just power his way through. Most likely Valencia, who's coming to the plate now, and then you'll bring up Chris Davis, and Banda might come in, lefty, to match up with Chris.
That ball just exploded.
Well, he throws 100, Jim, and he's big and he's strong, and he throws the ball downtown. I mean, you know, you throw the ball and backspin it by pulling down with the four seams, you got to get some movement. Now, not that there haven't been guys that throw 100 at the ball straight, but this is not the case here.
Valencia towards right center field. Malik Smith is back, and he runs it down for the out. So 2 down here in the second inning. Well, the Birds are back home on Monday. They will host the Nationals Monday through Wednesday. Kick off summer with a special 105 Memorial Day matchup. All fans will receive an Orioles Memorial Day t-shirt. And then on Wednesday, in the finale of that series, all first 20,000 fans 15 and over will receive an Orioles cooler backpack presented by Visit Sarasota. Get your tickets and come on out and join us at Orioles.com. So the pitching change. Stanek leaves. Banda comes on in the second.
Kevin Cash comes in, faces 5 hitters, strikes out 3 of them. And our Jiffy Lube pitching change, regular oil changes at Jiffy Lube will help your engine's vehicle engine run cleaner and longer. Jiffy Lube drive in today. So hard thrower, fastball. He's got a breaking ball, but mostly fastball and changeups. They got him from Arizona. Steven Souza Jr., who's hit 30 home runs for him last year. He went out of here, and there are the numbers. So they kind of favor the hitters, don't they? Both over 300.
You know, that was a big 3-team trade between the Yankees, Arizona, and Tampa Bay. Chris Davis DHing today. You see that 155 batting average, which is now the lowest in all of Major League Baseball. 155. He did get a base hit last night. Swings through a breaking ball.
Well, in Chicago, put the bat on his shoulder, and then last night went back to the old stance, which we're seeing today, which is their hands high, and then they'll drop. You know, a lot of guys, you know, if we watch C.J. Cron, and you can see this, and Duffy's almost like slow pitch softball. He was a roamer. A lot of guys start with their hands high, but they usually stay there. I mean, they'll drop a little bit depending because they're trying to get to the ball. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Didn't drop them behind him. He has a tendency sometimes to kind of get them and they get stuck behind you.
Good take. Count goes full.
Yeah, Scott Coolbaugh, who has known Chris for years, always talks about it. And whether it's Chris or a couple of years ago with Jonathan Scope, you have to get ready to hit.
And there's a walk with 2 down.
Well, it's a way of getting on. You bring the lefty in to match up, and you're down by 2-0. Rickard can, he drove a couple of home runs. Doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but hit 2 against Tampa Bay. So now all of a sudden, hit 1 up the gap, he may get on the board.
Here's Joey Rickard in right field again. Joey 5 out of 21 on the road trip. Obanda originally was drafted by Milwaukee. That was back in 2012. He was a 10th round pick. And at the trade deadline of 2014, Milwaukee sent him to Arizona in exchange for Gerardo Parra, the outfielder who eventually would join the Orioles from Milwaukee. And at the time, Anthony Banda was an A-ball. So he was in the Midwest League with Milwaukee, and then he just simply went to the Midwest team that Arizona had in that league. And then traded this past off season here to the Tampa Bay Rays. So Banda, a left-hander, 24 years old, already with his 3rd organization.
There's a good breaking ball, and like we said, he doesn't throw a whole lot of them. But if you throw them with that kind of break, and the thing about a great breaking ball, what kind of spin does it have? Can you pick it up? And can you throw it from a strike to ball when you get into these type of counts, 1 and 2, if you choose to throw that type of pitch?
Strike 3 called at the knees. Rickard does not agree. Mike DeMuro has the plate today, and he rings up Joey Rickard. So a 1-out, a 2-out walk and a man left. The Yankees, 21 years, 163 days old. He became the 4th youngest player in the modern era to hit a home run in 4 consecutive games. And you see the list: Miguel Cabrera, Andrew Jones, and Albert Pujols. And the Yankees won that game 2-1. Hall of Fame company there.
Oh, yeah. It's a good group to be mentioned in it because you're doing something right.
Malik Smith will take strike 1. Malik's in a 12 for 53 drought. Nothing in 2.
They did get on base a couple of times last night. Delayed steal, got caught stealing. for the 5th time, 11 steals, 5 caught stealing.
Towards Machado, and it gets on past him for a base hit. That ball was smoked.
Yeah, again, exit velocity on turf, so important. You get out of the middle of the plate. Watch this. I mean, this great angle right here. Watch how hard this ball is hit, because it ends up in the middle of the plate. So 93 miles per hour off the bat. He threw it 93, but he ended up getting in the middle of the plate. And now you have speed on the bases. See what Kevin Cash, who manages the Rays, is going to do.
Daniel Robertson, the shortstop.
Wow. I think Andrew Catcher's wondering, okay, where exactly is the strike zone? Rickard didn't know where it was either, got called out.
Well, that is the dilemma with Mike DeMuro. He has a reputation of having a floating strike zone, and it's tough for pitchers and catchers to zero in because they're not sure, because he keeps changing. Strike on the corner.
They go back to that Yankee game. You talked about Gleyber Torres hitting the home run. Just like the Orioles made all the great defensive plays. What, Judge threw out 2 guys, one at second, one at home. One of the throws to get Cole Calhoun, which would have been a tying run, and they had a 1-0 lead, was 100 miles per hour from short right field.
And a base hit the other way, just went with it. Smith will easily get to third. That is a good piece of hitting.
Well, I think it's the approach. Chad Mottola, you know, he had a team last year as the hitting instructor, hit 228 home runs. They were 14th in runs scored. This year they're, you know what, about 10th or 11th. And a lot of it's because of this. Higher on base percentage, higher runners in scoring position number. You play in a big ballpark. It's hard to hit home runs, especially with this lineup. Why try to do it? Do you want to hit warning track fly balls, or you want to use the whole field? I think these young players, and it's a lot easier to get young players to buy in what you want them to do than some veterans. We see that all the time, day in and day out.
Here's Carlos Gomez back off the DL for today's game. He was sidelined with a strained groin muscle. So with Denard Span now heading to Seattle, Gomez off the DL. Well, this Rays team, they are second in the league in team batting. And as Jim alluded to, the approach shows you why. They're at 261. Only Boston has a higher batting average. Willing to put the ball in play where it's pitched.
Yeah, and it makes it harder to pitch.
Popped up to first. Easy play for Mancini. That's a big out and 1 down. Well, fans, this season at Oriole Park, kids cheer free. Bring young Orioles fans ages 9 and under to Camden Yards free of charge. Every adult who purchases a regularly priced individual game ticket in the upper deck is then invited to bring up to 2 children free. And while you're at the ballpark, check out the new and improved Kids Corner featuring the Birdhouse. For tickets, Orioles.com/kidsfree.
But as you mentioned, it's great to have a good batting average. You know, they're what, 246 with runners in scoring position, 20 points higher than they ended up with last year. But they went 0 for 10 last night, or it wouldn't have been 2-0.
Line drive, base hit into right field, just over the leap of scope. Smith will score, and it's 3-0 Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you know, you try to get around that ball and try to pull it. You're probably going to hit a double play ball, might pop it up. Ref Steyer, once again, he's not a home run guy, so what does he do? Watch him stay inside this. I mean, that's just, hey, let the ball travel inside out. You can see. But of course, to do this, you still have to know where the bat head is. Now, there's a little bit of a luck factor because that ball does get in on him a little bit. But the approach, and Cashner's going, what do I need to do?
Tampa Bay already has 6 base hits through just an inning and a third. He could desperately use a double play ball here. Here's Brad Miller. Miller swung at the first pitch he saw in the first inning and flied out to left.
Yeah, only hitting 200 with runners in scoring position. That kind of tells you that kind of veteran guy. The year before last hit 30 home runs. That's never hit more than 11. And of course, what does he do next year? Hits 201 because he tried to do it again, struck out 149 times a year. He hit 30 home runs. Seen it for about 50 some years. You know, you hit a bunch of home runs, you think you can do it again, and you get out of having quality at bats, making it harder to try to get guys out. The teams that use the whole field are tough outs.
Here's a strike.
You got a Red Sox team that, you know, last year they didn't hit a lot of home runs, so they got J.D. Martinez. I mean, they had 4 of them last night. Now all of a sudden they can hit home runs, they can use the whole field. They can do both of those things. Tampa Bay doesn't have a lot of home run hitters, so hey, hit the ball where it's pitched, stay inside of it, hit in less double plays.
Too high with the fastball, so 2-2 on Brad Miller. So this is opposite of what we've seen from Castro on the year. Usually he starts out strong, not today because of the approach by Tampa Bay. The Rays did not take batting practice on the field today, and they already have 6 hits. Check swing, and it's outside.
Yeah, the quality of the pitches from really the 5th inning on. You know, you talked about his last start. Now you end up winning because the bullpen came in and had 4 shutout innings. Gibbons got him out of a runners at second and third in a 3-2 game by not giving up a run. But he faced 7 hitters, 3 singles, 3 doubles, and a walk. Yet he was able to get the win.
Yeah. And he got him on a changeup. Outstanding pitch and 2 down.
So you need to make adjustments, and this is one of them. Slow the bat down. Great changeup. You could just see him. I mean, trying to slow down. I mean, ball just dives out of the strike zone. Great finish, great location. All the things you want in an off-speed pitch.
5 of the 6 hits that the Rays have gone opposite field. Here's Crone, who singled to right field to get the rally going in the first. Robertson and Ref Snyder, the runners. Now 2 away. So if he can get Crone and keep this to a 1-run inning, that'll be a pretty good job, considering it was 1st and 3rd and nobody out.
Crone, the home run leader, but well, you know what, 26 points under 200 runners in scoring position. Even though he has 10 hits to right field.
And there's another base hit the other way. Robertson will score. Ref Snyder goes to 3rd. He's being sent. And there will be no relay to the plate. So there's a 2-run double for Crone, and it's 5-0 Tampa Bay.
Well, Mike, Matt Quattraro is the third base coach, and again, you're playing on turf, you're playing a little bit deeper. Now he's reading this right here at third base, so again, you have a little bit of speed, or your runner's running hard. Yes, the answer is yes. And Scope has no play at home plate. So that's how you score from first base. You run hard, you hit it where an outfielder has to go a long way, and then the third base coach does a great job of sending him.
Well, that is a big hit with 2 down. Here's Wendell.
Yeah, so you start looking at radar guns and you're going, well, I just don't understand this. But then you go back and you look at the approach, and a lot of balls in the middle of the plate. And if you try to pull them, sometimes they're just routine outs. If you hit them back up the middle and to the opposite field, kind of like going into Kansas City when they had turf there. I mean, you go in there to have Willie Wilson leading off with 230 hits, and then Amos Otis and Brett and McRae and Mayberry hitting 35 home runs, and you're playing on the turf and they can run. Tough to pitch well.
It's fouled back this way. Susak was hoping for a play. Here's a chopper into the shift. Manny will have to hurry, and he gets Wendell by a couple of steps. When we come back, we'll visit with Orioles Hall of Famer Fred Manfred. Of course, as always, hosted by the Oriole Advocates, Friday, August 10th, noon to 2 at the warehouse. For the details, 410-247-2703. And what a pleasure to welcome Mr. Retirement.
Oh, man.
Fred Manfred.
You got it,
finally
Jim.
got out to a game.
Well, yeah. Last year we came out, I think it was the last game the Orioles played here.
Right.
And then this year is the first time we've been able to get out. And we have the grandkids here, the daughter and son-in-law here. So it's a really nice, fun day at the ballpark, like families should have.
Absolutely.
And I see you guys.
Are you trying to sell the family plan? I mean,
of course. Hey, once a broadcaster, always a broadcaster, right?
Exactly. You got to work on your voice. Other than that, I think you might have a chance in this business.
Thank you, Jim. I've been reading a lot about you.
Oh, yeah. So now, wait. So you retire, and now you're going to get controversial?
No, I'm not getting controversial.
No. Well,
Oh, you mean about the fact that he's Irish, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
the fact
that
the Kennedy connection.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
You read the Washington Post. That's
Yes,
good.
I
But
do.
what else do you do in your retirement? Come on.
Well, hey, do what Marlene tells me to do.
Exactly.
Hey, happy wife, happy life.
Did you do that when you were working?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. That was like 49 years of practice.
Well, what is it going to mean for you to be inducted into the Orioles fame? I mean, you consider the career you had prior to going to Baltimore in 1993 and the fact that you're a native of the city.
Well, Jim, I'll tell you, I still can't believe it. I kind of pinch myself. What did I MC? Like 21 of the Hall of Fame luncheons for the Oriole Advocates, and never one time did I ever say or think that I was going to be on the other end of that, being introduced by somebody at the podium. And it is just amazing to join in the Herb Armstrong Award with Chuck Thompson, Bill O'Donnell, Frank Cashin. You go down the list of those people, and they are truly just phenomenal people in Oriole history. And to be able to be even mentioned in the same breath is just unbelievable.
Gentry a ground ball to short, so 2 quick outs. Anthony Banda getting it done.
Yeah, well, again, he's a power pitcher, and they just gave him a 5-0 lead. So that's going to make it's never easy, but it takes a little pressure off. And you know, we saw that. I mean, Bundy was. I don't know if you watch any of the games.
Yes, I
know
do.
you do. We talked about that, but Bundy was magnificent with the 14 strikeouts, and he also got 10 runs.
Right.
So it's not that makes it easier, but it probably makes it, as I used to talk to Mike Messina, less difficult.
Yeah, less difficult. Yeah, it's not easy ever
No.
at the big league level. Now, I was going to ask you, and I was talking to Scott McGregor about this. What do you think of this system that the Rays are employing, with the guy out of the bullpen starting as the quotes opener rather than being a closer?
Well, you're trying to get 27 outs. So how do you do it? You got Archer and Snell, real good starters. The rest of your guys, you traded Odorizzi. You traded some guys who had some injuries. Matt Moore is now pitching in Texas. He was here. So, hey, you don't have the guys, you do it. They traded.
Oh, look at that play by Robertson. And he robs Mancini. And when you're scuffling, that's how it goes. Well, Fred, we'll look forward to it on Saturday, August 11th. And as usual, when we have a guest, 3 up, 3 down.
Well, that's the way it goes. And Jim, always great to see you guys. And let's hope it's a much better season the rest of the way.
In the most offensive categories, switch hitter at second base, and he, along with Fred Manfred, will be inducted into the Orioles Hall of Fame on Saturday, August 11th. And we were able to pry Brian away from the radio booth next door, where he's calling the games this weekend with Joe Angel. And Brian joins us here in the booth, and another exciting honor for you to go into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, it's humbling and amazing, and to go in with somebody like this guy over here, it's and to have your name even mentioned in that category is really incredible.
It looks like the Orioles are going to get a lot younger, and if you had advice, not only to kids sitting at home, but maybe some of the Orioles
that would be young.
Yeah, well, yeah. But so, what was it like when aspirations, you want to get to the big leagues, but is patience one of, they always say patience is a virtue. Is that part of the whole deal?
Yeah, we talk about patience at our house a lot with a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So patience would definitely be a good one. Perseverance, I think, because you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have your struggles.
Ramos with another base hit. Gentry will keep it to a single this time.
And can I ask you one question? And it's not we're going to spotlight Andrew Kashner. Right? He's throwing hard. I mean, a lot of the balls in the middle of the plate. They're doing some nice approach. When you see that, you're going, is it a matter of the fact that he's not changing speeds enough, or maybe, again, because at this usually if you stay in the middle of the plate, you're going to get pretty hot?
Jim, I actually thought that he made some fairly quality pitches last inning. Robertson kind of dribbled one through the hole. The bad pitch that I thought started the whole thing was an 0-2 pitch to Malik Smith. That was a fastball that called too much plate, leadoff single, and now you're kind of in trouble. And then they blooped and chinked him a little bit. But overall, I think he's thrown the ball okay. I think, sure, maybe changing speeds a little bit more. He threw a couple really good changeups, to Brad Miller to strike him out. So some of that, maybe mixing and matching a little bit more. But I don't think he's made as many bad pitches as the numbers might show today, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the approach has been pretty good.
Approach has been very good. It's exactly what I told Joe Angel over there. I said, his sinker is pretty heavy. I even faced him in San Diego. He's got a big, heavy power sinker. And the righties in this lineup, you haven't seen any ground balls to the left side of the field. And typically, if you've got a good sinker going, that's what tends to happen. But the Rays have had a phenomenal approach of staying to the right side of the field in order to not hit those ground balls to the left side of the infield.
Matt Duffy is the batter, count of 1-1. And another hit the other way, or no, Joey Ricker gets to it, and this is going to be a double play. It hung up there long enough. Wow. So nicely done by Joey, and 2 men down. That eliminates the base runner.
Well, I know one thing. The Rays have given away a lot of outs on the base pass these last 2 days. That's 4 now, I think.
Well, Ramos, you know, after coming off the knee surgery, he's kind of like running like Benji Molina. And, but, you know, of course, I had the luxury of seeing you come up. And, you know, we used to always talk early. You know, early you'd swing at maybe the belt high pitch and you hit fly balls. And then the next couple of years, you're hitting 45 to 50 home runs or 50 doubles. Not
that would have been nice.
No, you're hitting 18 to 20 home runs.
You just got promoted.
Yeah, well, but you're driving the ball. So what was that adjustment for? Because we may see some younger players come up through there. I mean, how does that happen? Is that, again, something that's patience and perseverance?
Well, it's kind of you. I don't know that it was a luxury to watch me play early in my career at times, but yeah, it's adjustments, you know, and that's, I think, the biggest part of playing the game of baseball. As you know, being a pitcher, you always had to adjust to the hitter and what they were doing. As a hitter, you have to adjust to what pitchers are trying to do to you. Terry Crowley and I worked a lot in the cage, making adjustments just to my own swing and what I needed to do. And I was in some bad habits as an amateur player playing with a metal bat of, you know, trying to lift balls with your swing and front elbow going up and back shoulder dipping and things like that. And I wasn't a real big guy, so I had to learn who I was, and the power came eventually more so, but I needed to learn how to square the ball up on line drives on a consistent basis. And I think that young players, I work with a few high school kids around Sarasota and things like that. I said, just learn to be a good hitter initially, and everything else will follow later.
And Malik Smith goes down on strikes, so we appreciate the visit. Again, congratulations on the honor. Now get back next door and get back to work.
All right, guys, got to go to work.
That's Orioles Hall of Famer Brian Roberts. He'll be inducted on August 11th. The day. Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, 5-0 Rays. As the O's come to bat in the 4th, and as always, a lot of Orioles fans either relocated to this area or they make the trip. It's a wonderful place to visit. And on this holiday weekend, I'm sure a lot of folks have Monday off, so making the trip here to St. Pete to see the O's. Anthony Banda came on in relief in the 2nd. Ryan Stanek faced 5 batters, retired all 5. Featuring a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
101, I guess, right? Like the highway in California.
The 101. See what Adam did here.
Well, a lot of big swings and ended eventually striking out against Stanek. Hopefully, and also you're playing your 2nd game on turf.
Chopped to short. There's Robertson. Adams retired and 1 away. fans, the Birds are hosting the Yankees next week, Thursday, May 31st through Sunday, June 3rd. And on June the 1st, it is Friday fireworks and music featuring a post-game musical performance by singer-songwriter Elle Winter, followed by a fantastic fireworks display. Then on Saturday, June 2nd, you can watch the baseball classic The Sandlot after the game. Now, special ticket packages are available to watch from the field. Get your tickets. Go online. All the info at Orioles.com.
Yeah, you could see why they got him. I mean, you know, you get a guy that I think Souza was making somewhere in the $5 million range. A young player, hits 30 home runs, a lot of walks, a lot of strikeouts. The next thing you know, he gets traded along with Morrison, who had 38 home runs. Dickerson had 27. Lorgaria was in the 20 mark. So they dump a lot of salary, probably about $40 million. So you get a kid that you think and you can project. You know, originally was traded to Minnesota. That's probably going to be in your starting pitching array over the next couple of years. But somebody's got to do something to get him a little bit nervous, in the sense of, you know, maybe hit one or whatever, because the Orioles haven't had any runs, but they don't have a hit yet.
Against the shift, there's the second baseman Wendell, and 2 kickouts. So another ground ball. That is 4 in a row thrown by Banda. Orioles fans, when the O's score 5 runs or more, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com with the promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Jonathan Scope, 2 outs and nobody on. Only base runner for the O's, the Chris Davis walk, with 2 outs in the second. And another ground ball. There's Robertson. 3 straight ground outs, and the Orioles go 3 up, 3 down in the 4th. We're 2-9 in their last 11 games, but last night beat a very good and young Phillies team 6-5. Ryan Tepera picked up his first save. And how about the quote from John Gibbons? It's been a tough stretch for this team, and we had trouble closing out some games. The Phillies, have good team speed. They can do a lot of things in this ballpark. I would say we desperately needed that. We needed to desperately close that out. Desperately, quoted from John Gibbons.
Yeah, and they desperately won. I think he's got Russell Martin playing shortstop today. They desperately needed a shortstop.
Towards third, Valencia backs up, knocks it down, and Robertson's going to reach.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to throw him out anyway. I don't know how they'll score that, but the minute you take a step back on turf with a little bit of speed, and Daniel Robertson's got good foot speed, and they run all the balls out here. Kevin Cash has got him doing that. The minute you back up, you're almost on the outfield, and it's a long throw. Again, this is just unlucky. He make a pretty good pitch. You can see how hard he's running. Now, meanwhile, he's backing up, and then it goes off the heel.
Well, they rule it a base hit.
Just no possible way from that depth. Even Manny probably wouldn't have been able to, with his arm, be able to make that throw. Which is why I was so lucky to play with Brooks Robinson. You know, he would have known that. He would have come in, and of course, you know, Brooks, he did win 16 straight Gold Gloves, and he would have pounced on it. Would have been a tougher play, but Brooks had about as good a hands as, you know, I've ever seen at third base.
There's a double play ball. Scope to Manny. Oh, nicely recovered there and dropped at first by Davis. That's a tough break for Davis there. The throw sailed. Scope's throw to Manny interrupted his timing, and Mancini couldn't hold on to it at first.
Yeah, take a look right here. And then again, the little short hop. Now, if you get a better throw, we know, I mean, it's going to be pretty routine. And he threw it right to the bag. I think there's slight hesitation by Manny, and then of course he had to reach out. Trey's saying I should have caught that ball, but how much first base has he been playing?
So Gomez replaces Robertson at first. Here's Refsnyder. Number 9 batter, already his second at bat.
And just think, if you're Andrew Cashner, you've given up more hits and more runs than you. That's a double play ball. You're out of the inning. Or not out of the inning, but you're certainly on your way.
Right. Yeah, Cashner still on there. He's got to eat up some innings. Day game again tomorrow. Another base hit the other way. Just stayed fair. Rickard gets to it quickly. Flying around third is Gomez. He slips. And now the Orioles have a play. Refsnyder gets to second base. Gomez stays in the rundown long enough and finally tagged out by Cashner.
Yeah, Cashner says, I'm going to get an out myself. And pounces on him.
Well, that was a tough break for Gomez. He was flying around expecting to be sent, and then he was held up and he slipped.
Yeah, and then also he's coming off a groin injury. Just came off the DL. Take a look. I mean, this is the way you want to run, and then whoa, halt. So he thinks he goes to do a slide. Heads up play by Jonathan Scope. And then you're seeing too many throws, but Cashner seals the deal with a tag.
So that's the second out. Refsnyder gets to second. He's 2 for 2. Four of the Rays hitters already have multi-hit games. Here's Brad Miller.
Yeah, well, the approach has been impeccable as far as not trying to overswing.
Miguel Castro now begins to get loose.
Well, I can tell you right now, Andrew Cashner, he wants to get Miller out. And he wants to stay. The last thing he wants to do is come out of this game, because he's going to say it's not necessary. Because the pitch count, I mean, the pitch counts at 61, and take a look at, here's a changeup Brian Roberts was talking about. We were saying, okay, the approach is we're looking hard, so unless you throw sliders, he hadn't had a good one, or you take a little bit off with a changeup, they're just going to try to ping it around this ballpark, and they're doing that. I mean, 10 hits already. And again, a lot of them not hit hard, but again, the approach has been tough to handle.
Well, 2-1 the count on Miller. Bobby Dickerson still lamenting the double play not turned. 3-1 on Miller. And there's a ball and a walk. The fourth inning of Orioles baseball is brought to you by the all-wheel drive RAV4. Toyota, what drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals.
Yeah, Roger McDowell, pitching coach of the Orioles, he's going to come out and have a little conversation, and it's almost a kind of a pitch around. If I don't make my pitch, I already given up 5. I got a guy at second. I don't think, when you're a veteran like Cashner, you would have loved to have the double play turn, but you also are a realist. You go, hey, they didn't turn it, so I got to move on. And again, of course, they turn the double play. Castro's probably not even up. And when you have a beleaguered bullpen because of injuries and inexperience, it's important not have your starter do what you said, which is to get as deep as he can in the game.
So Cashner will go to work on C.J. Cron to try to get this final out.
And of course, the Rays are saying this is our guy. This is a guy that with one swing can make it 8-0.
Cron already with a multi-hit game. He had the big hit in the rally in the second. A 2-out, 2-run double to make it 5-0. Can't catch up to the fastball. 1-1.
And he really, hit it softly. He just kind of insided it out to right center field. And again, because of their speed, the runner from first was able to score all the way from first base. See, the slider's been a non-pitch today, so they're just looking hard. That's why the changeup's so important. Looks like your fastball, and it's a totally different speed. In this case, probably about 8-9 miles per hour slower.
And Rough Snyder and Miller. Mancini behind Miller, so he's getting a big lead. Appeal denied by Mark Wegner. And the count to 3-1. And there's another walk. Back-to-back walks will load the bases.
Man, Buck, you can see he knows, again, with a somewhat diminished bullpen, he doesn't want to bring in Castro unless he has to. So he's going to give the veteran a chance to get out of this inning.
Wendell tripled a drive and a run, then scored in the first. And he bounced out to second base to end the second.
Yeah, there's a changeup and a good one.
Ref Snyder at third, Miller at second, Cron at first, with Joey Wendell facing Cashner. Wendell, 28 years old. He's from West Grove, Pennsylvania. And he popped them up. Shallow left center field. Who's it going to be? Jones takes charge, and Adam has it for the out. So after all that, no runs. Tampa Bay leaves the bases loaded. East wins, and Dustin Pedroia is back with the Sox. He starts his 13th season with the Red Sox, and today, his season debut, the Fenway faithful gave him a standing ovation in his first at-bat. With the bases loaded at 2 outs at the bottom of the first, he flied out to right. The veteran then walked his next at-bat in the third and came around the score, and Boston defeated the Atlanta Braves 8-6 at Fenway. Daytime baseball at the Fens. So Pedroia is back. Andrew Cashner with Susac. A tad unlucky in this game, but you love the approach of Tampa Bay.
Oh, it's worked, and again, he hasn't been horrible, and he just saved the bullpen in a sense, because he'll probably go back out there. And Pedroia comes back, and Hanley Ramirez. You know, I was reading the Globe today, and a lot of it was the manager, the new manager, Alex Corey. He just did not think that the way the lineup is comprised, and you know, Blake Swihart, they thought that somebody doesn't have any options. They may have to lose him. Didn't think Ramirez would fit in the way they were going to use him.
And there's the first base hit for the Orioles, and that one's going to roll a long way. Valencia will head to second. He may think 3, and he is thinking 3. And the throw is not in time, and it gets away. Banda backing up, but Valencia is going to stay put.
Kind of backing up. He was over there, but I don't think he anticipated the ball going by the third baseman. Duffy couldn't get it. Yeah, again, when you're down by 5 and this ball is rifled up, you can see how that's the farthest part of the ballpark, right where it goes to. So again, you're coming around second and you're reading it. And it's not even close. So it's an easy triple. And right there, you can see Bobby Dickerson pointing. No. I mean, watch him cover the outside corner and just, I mean, it's both times he hit the ball extremely hard.
Well, the Orioles' first base hit, and it's a leadoff triple. Chris Davis was the first hitter to face Banda, and he drew a walk. And it was in the second inning after Stanek, who started, went an inning and 2/3.
Well, right side of the infield, back and in the prevent defense, you know, the shift. So anything, put it in play, anything to the right side is going to be a run on the ground. I know he'd like to do more than that, but you know, got Banda looking for a strikeout. You're looking, Chris, I mean, it's not an easy RBI because this guy just threw a 96-mile-per-hour fastball, but they're giving it to you if you can make contact.
Yeah. And he can. He goes down on strikes.
Well, the book on Chris Davis is that you can power the ball by him, and that's exactly what he does. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. You can see the hands drop. You can't possibly get the ball back and barrel up that ball. He's upset, but he just got pitched to. It was not a good matchup for Chris.
Here's Joey Rickard. Topper foul. Ramos tried to get out there, hoping it would spin the other way. Joey called out on strikes his first at bat. So each pitcher for the Rays, Stanek and now Banda, with 3 strikeouts each. Valencia at third now with 1 down. Those have won 2 in a row and 3 out of 5. They're now 4-5 on this road trip. Which isn't bad when you consider it started 1-3.
Yeah. Well, in this count, and you can see what they're trying to do. Again, when you have the kind of arm that Anthony Banda has, he's trying to run the fastball in. Yarbrough did it last night at 91 in a cutter because, you know, he's a control guy, but made great pitches, and then change ups down and away and get Joey out on his front foot. And there's the change. But again, if you have this kind of stuff, it's a matter of can you command it. And that's, they went after and they let Souza go in that 3-way trade just exactly for this reason. They hope this kid will learn how to pitch. Did a pretty good job right there.
So back-to-back Ks following the triple, and it's up to Susac, who struck out his first at-bat.
I mean, this kid was the Diamondbacks minor league pitcher of the year last year.
And now getting a chance with Tampa Bay. When the Orioles and Rays last met at Baltimore, the 4-game series with the doubleheader, he was the 26th man. He was called up, and Kevin Cash didn't use him in the game, in either game. And then afterwards, by rule, he had to be sent back to Durham. Bonda at AAA, 4-2 in 7 starts for the Durham Bulls. Ahead of Susac, 1-2. A little bit high. Valencia led off the inning with a triple, and he's still at third with 2 men down. Bounce to short. Robertson, tough in between hop, gets it to first. Susac retired. Valencia left stranded at third. Mid-fifth, 5-0 Tampa Bay.
Game, a new day, and 0 for 10 for the Rays. Not today, even though Ramos will try to stretch a single. Hits the bag. Wendell scores, and then Crone 2-run double as he would hustle it into a double. They would score all the way. Refsnyder from third base. So again, 5 unanswered runs, and right here the Orioles defense so good yesterday. Failed to turn the double play. And Mancini playing first, couldn't come up with a low throw. Those are your Geico highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more in car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
The bottom of the 5th, Cashner back out there, and here's Wilson Ramos, and there's a young O's fan. Cashner would love a 3-up, 3-down inning. Foul tip, 1-1. Wilson Ramos in his 2nd season. Tampa Bay signed him even though he was still rehabbing from the major knee surgery. Late in 2016 he suffered that injury with the Nationals. Bounce to third. There's Valencia. And 1 down. Our PNC Minor League Insights brought to you by PNC. There's no better time to act than today. PNC, make today the day. And How about outfielder Ryan McKenna? He is tearing it up for Frederick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, you know, you see the best tool, speed. Well, you can see why he stole 20 bases, only caught 2 times. Year before at Aberdeen, 17 steals. So, again, I mean, when you're hitting 348, you're doing something right. No wonder he's aggressive at the plate. Right-handed hitter.
Broken back ground ball. There's Manny. Duffy's retired too. Well, Ryan McKenna is Mike Bordick's favorite minor league prospect.
And why is that?
He's from Maine.
That's all it takes. Probably Gary Thornhill probably likes him too.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, I know. Bordy probably likes him for a number of reasons this year. Because not only is he from Maine,
just 21 years old.
He's hitting. Berwick, Maine. You know, well, he was born in Grand Pass, Oregon, but he has
relocated.
Yes, and resides
to the great state, the motherland for Mike Bordick and Gary Thorne. So his 4th season for Ryan McKenna. There's some exciting prospects having good years this year. Pretty good when you're leading your league in hitting, regardless of what league you're in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how do you get to the next level? You show them that you need to go to the next level.
Hit 2-1 on Malik Smith.
And when I was in A-ball, Eddie Watt was on our team, and Eddie Watt was a high fastball, curveball, changeup pitcher. He went 14-1, should have been 15-0 in Aberdeen, 3-1 in Elmira with a no-hitter. And then 2 years later, he's in the big leagues. So that's what, 17-2, throwing sidearm as a reliever. Totally changed, willing to do it, got him to the big leagues, and then, you know, stayed in the big leagues for what, 7-8 years. So for anybody working his way up, whether you're a hitter, pitcher, or whatever, I mean, you got to, you know, keep moving up, and everybody wants to get to the next level, and you usually do that when you play well as a team and support your teammates. That's what Cal Senior told us. And then you don't let anybody outwork you. And for all the people that think PEDs are important, when you're 18 years old and you're living in the basement making what, $414, $3 a day meal money, and your manager said there are no such things as shortcuts, you don't forget that.
Malik Smith down on strikes, and he breaks his bat and throws the helmet.
Yeah, I'd pay attention if that. I mean, it's pretty embarrassing when you're up 5-0 to do this.
For Cashner, his first 3-up, 3-down inning. It comes here in the 5th.
All military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Well, and on this Memorial Day weekend, Richard Blyer had some guests out here, wounded warriors. Jack Schalair, Staff Sergeant in the Marines. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan and actually met his wife in Germany while in the hospital. She was volunteering with the USO. Jack served as a liaison between the wounded warriors and their families. And Jonathan Pruden was along there with Jack. He was a captain in the Army, wounded July 1st, 2003 in an explosion in Iraq. So we thank them for their service. God bless them both. And congrats to Richard Blyer for sponsoring them here today and inviting them out to the ballpark as his guests.
Great changeup. Of course, Gentry tried to bunt his way on. You're down by 5. That's a pretty good sense of what you need to do to try to maybe jump start this offense. And of course, there's another changeup. So, yeah, the scouting report on Anthony Banda, as you look at the Mercedes pitch tech, is that he's got an overpowering fastball, needs to work on his changeup, and of course, excellent mound demeanor and a fearless approach that could very well lead to a successful long career in the big leagues. And maybe that's why they gave up a guy that hit 30 home runs last year, Steven Souza Jr. for him.
Nicely gloved. So Mancini's retired and 2 quick outs.
How about go ahead, Jim. I'll let you. Well, I didn't know you were going to do that.
For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Light the Night Walk. The O's have drawn 148 walks, a total of $7,400. Care First encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. There's Adam, 2 quick outs. Orioles have had just 2 base runners in this game. 2-out walk to Davis in the 2nd and a leadoff triple by Valencia in the 5th. You know, the Rays have been getting a lot of attention with Kevin Cash starting relievers, and in this series he's starting relievers with all 3. But with the job we saw last night when Yarbrough came on in relief, and now the job that Banda's doing, you know, the simple question should be to Kevin Cash, well, why not just start these guys? You're utilizing them for the majority of the outs anyway. I mean, why not leave the relievers in the bullpen?
Well, I think probably because he would say the 3rd time through the order, even though Yarbrough is not one of those guys. Of course, he only had 15 at bats the 3rd time through the order. That's when you're going to have to go to your bullpen anyway. So why don't I get the matchup? I think the whole thing is about the matchup. You know, you got 4 right-handers. I'll take a guy. You know, is a guy better with pitch runners on or off? And there was Romo.
What is he doing in the bullpen? He's a starter now.
Well, because that's his boys down there. Boy, you go 588 games or 558 games in the bullpen, and you don't be on the bench. Every time you're on the bench is when you're pitching. You'll be down there with the boys. A lot of dialogue in the bullpen, Joe.
Adam Jones off the end of the bat. Who's it going to be? Gomez calls off Malik Smith, and a 3-up, 3-down inning. Mid-6th. Cashner back to work. Acura. Visit your local Baltimore Annapolis Acura dealer for attractive offers on the thrilling Acura lineup. Well, the Rays getting some attention out there. Looks like they're just hanging out watching the game.
Very attentive.
How you guys doing? They got some good seats out there. So Cashner back out there in the 6th. This ball's hit well to right field. Long run for Rickard. And that is back over his head. Plays the carom perfectly. Heading to second base and sliding in with a double is Robertson.
Yeah, even that approach was inside out. Not trying to do too much, and he belts it. You know, Cashner, sinker baller. There's the target. There's the ball. It's up in the middle of the plate. So again, the velocity's good. Location not where he wanted it. And again, the approach is very simple. We'll just use the middle of the field.
That is base hit number 10 for the Rays. Well, Tanner Scott will begin to get loose. Carlos Gomez with a runner at second.
Get on, Carlos!
Gomez back from the disabled list today. And just in time. They played short last night after trading Denard Span and trading our closer Alex Colomé to Seattle in the same deal.
A heck of a trade for Seattle. They got a bunch of salary, and Colomé was what, $5.3 million, so they paid whatever 4/6 of that, or somewhere around there, and then Span was making actually $10 million plus a $2 million bonus because he had gotten a signing bonus when he signed a 3-year deal with San Francisco. So they saved some money. They get some young players. But the interesting thing to me was that, you know, they started out talking about the Rays. They started out where they won the first game, then they lost 8. They were 3-12. They've had an 8-game losing streak, 8-game winning streak, 6-game winning streak, and a 5-game losing streak. And yet they were only 3 games under 500. And you just took 2 of your better players away. So I guess they're trying to, you know, they're building for the future. They make no bones about it.
They also acquired from the Athletics Wilmer Font, who we saw on the Athletics when the Orioles were on the West Coast.
Now, he didn't pitch in our series.
Right, but he was active.
He's a guy that they got from the Giants who throws a bunch of home runs, but a very hard throw.
And he is active in the Rays bullpen today. And there's a walk. As that one came up and in. Well, fans, the Birds will host the Angels June 29th through July the 1st at Oriole Park. And on Saturday, June 30th, the first 35,000 fans 15 and over receive a Birdland Hawaiian t-shirt or shirt. For tickets, visit Orioles.com. Not a t-shirt, it's a button shirt. There it is. Well, that's last year's version. I bet you those guys will be at Camden Yards for this year's version.
Are the versions different?
Oh, yeah, they change it every year. Absolutely.
Or do I have to go to Tom Davis to get an accurate? He would probably, he can tell you uniforms from 1958.
That's a very good year.
Was that what year you were born?
Yeah. That was, see, that worked out well randomly. 0-1 on Ref Snyder. A tough day for Cashner. Tampa Bay really had a great approach against him. Foul back. Seven of the 11 hits have been opposite field hits.
Yeah, 0 for 10 last night, runners in scoring position, and today 3 for 7 so far.
And 2 on with nobody out for Ref Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, maybe their scouting report, their advanced scout said, hey, he's more comfortable on the inside middle. So let's stay inside the ball. You know, a lot of teams would try to hit, 95 up and in and pull it. And that's how you get yourself in trouble. They've just stayed inside and hit it the other way. It's kind of like, it's almost like they've gone to a, when you hit and run, you start the runner, you always want to hit behind him. That's pretty much what they've done all day long. And that may be based on their analytics of where he throws more strikes and more quality strikes. Low and away, if you throw a low and away fastball to a guy trying to go the other way, he's usually going to hit a foul. If you throw the same pitch inside middle, it's more hittable because you have more room to maneuver the bat head. I never knew that until I started pitching, in innings. I always thought, hey, the ones away they do it. No, they just don't hit those balls fair.
And the 3-2 is low, I guess. Ball 4. Cashner staring in at DeMuro. And that's going to do it. Here's Buck Showalter. So Tanner Scott's going to come on, and he'll inherit the bases loaded and nobody out.
Yeah, one thing about Andrew Cashner, he, guys didn't turn double play. He didn't let that stuff bother him. I mean, it certainly affects your ability to pitch. That's a questionable pitch, and he shakes his head, but it doesn't. Not a lot of emotion. Cashner's not going to be able to win his second in a row after winning in Chicago. So again, great approaches. He's not great command, not wild, but 4 walks, and 2 of them in this inning. So Tanner Scott, who pitched 2 innings in Chicago, will come on. They were, he pitched what, I think Tuesday, and Jim and everybody at the cage is saying, where'd you get this kid? Because he threw a couple of pitches, 97 and 99, able to throw the ball over after struggling up in Boston.
Infield is drawn in. He gets ahead at 97 to Brad Miller.
And it's an easy 97. There's some good breaking balls in Chicago.
Well, this is a good test for Tanner Scott. If you want to earn the confidence of the manager and the pitching coach, come on in with the bases loaded and show him you could get out of a jam.
Yeah, Jose Rondon hit a solo home run. In fact, his first home run in the big leagues down the right field line off of Tanner. That cost him some runs, and there's the little slider. And so you'd love to be able to keep the game where it is right here. And how do you do that with the bases loaded? You have somebody that can't strike you out.
And he's ahead 1-2. Overthrows that one.
You have 14 strikeouts in 11 1/3 innings coming on.
This is his 3rd appearance on the trip. He allowed a couple of runs in a 1/3 of an inning in Boston last Saturday. And then Wednesday in Chicago in 2 innings, 2 runs, including that home run. Foul tip, and he stays alive. Cashner watching from the Orioles bench. Those have the infield in. They'll come to the plate to try to cut off a run.
Yeah, it's a necessary evil when you're trailing by 5 and you can't afford to give up any more runs. Last thing you want to do with the bases loaded, nobody out, is play your infield in.
And he struck him out. 98 upstairs. Big out for Tanner Scott.
Yeah, we've seen a big arm from Anthony Bonda, who came in relief of Stanek, who threw 101. So right here, tried to hit it, and he couldn't. A great angle right there to show you how fast this game is when somebody throws in the upper 90s. How quickly you have to be able to, number one, recognize the pitch, the movement, where it's going to be, up or down, and then try to get the bat to it.
So now a double play ball gets the O's out of this. Here's C.J. Cron, who's had a big day. Waves at the breaking ball, so he's thinking 98 and he gets that.
Well, that's kind of what 98 does. I mean, you're hitting off the fastball. So as long as you make a good pitch with your breaking ball and don't speed up the bat in the middle of the zone, it can be very effective.
One on one fastball missed. One down with the bases loaded. 5-0 Rays. Another off-speed pitch. So C.J. Cron is 0 for 2 with his guesses.
Well, they were sliders, but they were good ones. And he started them off the plate and brought them back.
Ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, great pitch there at 98, right in on his fist. See, Jim, you inquire, and all you have to do is ask. And Tom Davis, he can't text because he has to do it through Rick Dempsey. 1958, the Orioles put the numbers on the front of their uniform for the first time and had an orange visor on the front of their hats for the first time. The year you were born.
How about that? Was that in honor of?
Probably. You're allowed to think that.
1-2. Bounced foul.
Yeah, you throw that pitch away. He swung through it, so he's just trying to go to the emergency hack. If he hits a grounder, and one of the infielders probably going to get a double play ball. So strike him out or pop him up, but again, you can turn the double play because he's not a plus runner. On the other side of that coin, of course, the Rays are just saying, okay, we got our big guy up there. He's having a good afternoon, as you mentioned.
And on base all 3 times. And he got him another real good slider.
Well, the back foot slider. Well, you think of so many good left-handed pitchers, whether it was Sparky Lyle on the bullpen or you name it, Guidry and Carlton is in the Hall of Fame. I mean, they just start that slider. You can't stop it because you think it's going to be on the plate. You don't want to get called out.
That looked like a Ron Guidry slider there.
Yep. I mean, Lolich, all the guys that. Kershaw, of course, he can still do it when he's healthy and pitching. He can throw that slider down and in with the best of them.
Wendell swings through it 0-1.
So a chance if you're able to get Wendell out to keep it at a 5-run ball game and then force the back end of the ball. I mean, Colomé is no longer here, so they've lost their closer. Somebody's going to have to close out games for them. Well, you would have loved to have been able to score with the leadoff triple by Valencia. It would have been 5-1.
Oh, does he look good? 0-2 on Wendell.
Well, he's so relaxed, and basically he chased 2 balls, but deception, big part of this game. It's nice to have 97, 98 backing that up.
Robertson, Gomez, Refsnyder, 3rd to 1st. 0-2 on Joey Wendell, who is a tough out. And he struck him out. What a job by Tanner Scott. Bases loaded, nobody down, and he strikes out 3 in a row. Our M&T do-ups, Machado, Schoop, and Valencia. Care together. To schedule an appointment, call 410-601-PLAY. Well, tomorrow we'll close it out here at the Trop. 1 o'clock first pitch, then back home to begin a 7-game homestand. 1 o'clock game on Memorial Day Monday, and then the Nats stay in town for a couple of night games Tuesday and Wednesday. Come on out and join us. A lot of great promotions going on. The next Friday night you have the concert and the fireworks. Of course, the kids cheer free, so a good time of year. The weather's finally getting nice, so come on out and join us. And here's Tanner Scott sitting on the bench now after 3 strikeouts. Ball 1 to Manny Machado.
Well, yeah, the heart of the lineup, and again, you got to make something happen. Get the bullpen up
towards right center field. That ball's hit well. Gomez back on it. It's over his head, and it eludes him on the count. But backing up perfectly was Malik Smith, and Manny has a leadoff double.
Yeah, he can hit the ball to right field. We've actually seen the ball carry here. I mean, that's just outside third of the plate. He just smacks it. Gomez thought he might catch it. He just couldn't get the angle to get to it.
Well, Manny, who was just 3 for his last 19, gets a double. For a second time in this game, a runner in scoring position. Here's Schoop. Bonda and Ramos having trouble getting together on the signs. It's the first time in this game there's been a runner at second base. So Bonda may have forgotten the indicator.
Yeah, that is kind of important because otherwise you might throw it right by him, and then that double will become a triple. Orioles had the leadoff triple by Valencia, but you're.
Miguel Castro up for a second time. Fidel Nuno and Chaz Rowe, a couple of former Orioles in the Rays pen.
Yeah, Nuno pitched last night, and
Schoop slicing it down the line. Will it stay fair? That is a foul ball. Just did fade foul. Well, the Orioles wearing the Memorial Day weekend military style uniforms. Jonathan looking to extend his hitting streak to 6 straight. He is 0 for 2, as you saw. With the shift on, a ground ball to second base will roll forever.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. That same hole that left-handers will have, except usually play a shift, exists for the right-handers. But you're just hoping maybe, just maybe, you'll get a little bit of help here. Maybe a walk. He's playing with a 5-0 lead, but he's a very young pitcher.
The 2-1 on Scope. Chopper. Robertson. Oh, short hop, and he got it. That one almost ate him up.
Well, Mike Bordick be the first to tell you when you play shortstop, most of the time you can pick your hop. Not here. Fast infield turf. Real nice play. Played the short hop really well. We haven't seen much of him at shortstop because we've seen him other second base and whatever, but it seems like he handles it pretty well. That's a Varia with the injury, so he's out. But you didn't advance the runner. Man, he stays exactly where it is. You're going to have to get a base hit here. If you moved him to third, they would have played back. Would have been a little easier chance for Valencia to get him in.
And Danny takes a strike. So the shift on for Valencia, just as it was for Scope. Five runs on 11 hits for the Rays. No runs on just 2 hits for the O's. Orioles have had only 3 base runners in this game, and we're in the 7th.
Wow, big swing. That one in the middle of the plate, fouled it back. So that got Mike DeMuro somewhere, the home plate umpire. Yep, oh, right shoulder. His dad was a long time American League umpire.
I understand you liked his dad's strike zone.
Well, one time, yeah.
One time.
Well, no.
And Danny goes down on strikes. Big curveball.
Well, you get maybe one pitch to hit. Of course, it was 95. He hit the big swing, fouled it off, and then he goes to the breaking ball. A little Tanner Scott breaking ball. I'm trying to time it. Real good pitch. Well, Chris Davis is going to have to try to get it done with 2 outs.
Chris walked in the 2nd and struck out in the 5th with Valencia at third base and nobody down.
Yeah, so if you're Kevin Cash, you start Ryan Stanek. He gets you 5 outs. Bonda's got you 15 of them, at least to this point. And then you got to figure out if he gets Chris Davis out, there's 16 outs, so there's 21. Need another 6 to finish the game and hope you have a lead. But this kid has an arm, and right there's a questionable pitch. He thought he might get it, but he didn't. The other thing about it, you don't find too many young pitchers like Bonda that are comfortable pitching in. And the same with Yarbrough. Of course, he was doing it at 91.
It's a find, so 2-2 on Davis. Davis has now gone 51 at-bats without a home run or an RBI. May the 9th. The last time he drove in a run. The shift on the shortstop is in the middle. Robertson. Ground ball and a base hit against the shift the other way. Machado's going to score, and that makes it 5-1. Big hit by Davis with 2 men down.
Well, I got one last night to left field. So you get the hit, you get the RBI, you keep the inning going. You might even get the bullpen going. We'll see here. But again, you got to make contact. He lets the ball travel. Got to be pleased. Hits it hard on the turf. Gets by. Clutch. 2 out. Base hit. Gets you on the board.
So Davis breaks that RBI drought. First ribby since May 9th, and it's a big hit with 2 down. There's Joey Rickard. Joey has struck out twice. And he popped it up. Wendell, the second baseman, calls. And he's got it. So the O's get a run, 7th inning stretch at a 5-1 game. Of Sarasota, Florida, from fresh seafood to world-class cuisine. Visit savorsarasota.com. Overhead view of the Gulf. 5-1 game. Miguel Castro comes on in the 7th.
Yeah, he's really been pitching well for the Orioles. As a matter of fact, if you look at all his numbers this year, you can see 18 games, only one 2 1/3 innings with 4 runs against the Angels. Other than that, never over 1 run in any of his appearances. Lefties hit him better than righties, you could see, by almost twice. Came in last pitch in Chicago, the 3-2 loss. Came in and struck out Abreu with a nasty slider.
It's his 4th appearance on the road trip. It's ahead of Wilson Ramos.
Well, he's got a pretty good change up, and the slider can swoop, and he can throw in the upper 90s. There's the slider, and there's a wave. Very appropriate waving on Memorial Day weekend. Yeah.
The Castro, Jim, 5 consecutive scoreless appearances.
No, he's been really pitching well. And meanwhile, at 23, still working on a little bit quicker to the plate with runners. There's a backup slider that, and I've been there. You'll take that. You probably try to throw it low and away like the last one, but he just freezes it. You can see where the target is, and he misses by a foot or so across the plate. But
yeah,
it
look
just
at that.
spins.
Susac was.
Yeah, well, it's when you're a former pitcher, that's what you watch. You watch where the glove is, you watch where the catcher moved, and if you watch, and that's what Roger McDowell, the Oriole pitching coach, Ray Miller did it Mark Wiley did it when he was pitching coach here. How often do you hit the glove? Mark Wiley used to color code it.
Oh yeah.
You know, like purple was it was like getting an A or a gold star.
Want to know on Duffy. Chop towards Valencia, and that's a foul ball. So Duffy back to the plate.
Yeah, it looks like Matt Duffy's a pretty good player. Good hitter, hits the ball where it's pitched, can play all over. As you mentioned, they got him to play shortstop, had the Achilles problem. So he missed pretty much all of last year trying to rehab.
In 2015 with the Giants, he was able to play in 149 games. At 77 RBIs. Missed all of last year, as Jim mentioned, with the Achilles injury. 2016, he got into just 91 games. Chopped to third. Valencia placed the hop ice cream cone. And 2 down. And 2 away here in the 7th. Well, today the Orioles are wearing this specially designed Memorial Day jerseys and caps. You can visit Orioles.com/auctions and bid on these autographed and authenticated game-worn jerseys and caps. All the proceeds will benefit the Fort Meade Alliance. The bidding will close on Sunday, June 3rd at 10 p.m. Visit Orioles.com/auctions. Well, Miguel really doing it up. Here's the skipper's hat. That's a good looking hat. Malik Smith singled and scored in the 2nd. He has since struck out twice, and his last strikeout in the 5th, he was so upset he slammed his bat on the ground and broke his bat, so he's up there with a new bat.
He had a fit. Yeah, Casher didn't even see it. He's struck him out. Usually what you do, you know, who wants to taunt a hitter? You just want to, that's your job. He just put his head down, walked into the dugout. Meanwhile, he's throwing his helmet, breaking his bat.
3-0.
I mean, what if you did that after you celebrated every time you struck a guy out? Which some guys do.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's always debates on either side. Let the kids have fun. Let them be expressive. But then there's the other side that say, well, if you've done it before and you act as if you've done it before, it's classier, more professional. There's a walk with 2 down.
Well, he attempted the delayed steal last night. I would imagine, because the scouting reports on Miguel Castro, he can be slow to the plate, is that they will run. You only have a 4-run lead. It was 5-0. Now it's 5-1. And if you're Kevin Cash, you're always looking for opportunities. And
with Castro on the mound, the O's have caught 2 and 2 have stolen.
Yeah, it's not a horrible number, but they, you know, the Orioles keep track of how quickly you get the ball. So again, I mean, this is part of the maturation for a young pitcher. You know, the Orioles got him at 22 from Colorado. Great acquisition, as Brad Brock was. And he's done a nice job. But if you're deliberate to the plate, the speedsters are going to steal.
Well, Malik Smith does have 11 steals, but he leads the American League with 5 caught stealings, including the one last night. Meanwhile, Daniel Robertson, who's at the plate, has a 3-hit game. He has singled twice, he has doubled, and he has scored a run. There's Smith held by Mancini. Rather right at Manny. He'll flip the scope. There's the force on Smith, and that'll do it. Our Ram do-up as we go to the 8th. Susac, Gentry, and Mancini. fielders behind him. He had a catcher, and 6 minor leaguers came over from Sarasota to face Zach Britton, and he was on the mound. You see all of the folks watching him behind it, and Zach, following his sim game, was asked how it went.
Today was probably the sharpest everything was, breaking balls, sinkers, command, things like that. So I definitely feel like if I continue in that direction where, I'm feeling really close to myself, that it could be a shorter rehab assignment. But you never know until you get that first one in and you get the adrenaline pumping. I could be sore, maybe need a couple more days. So try not to get too far ahead. But I think we're leaning towards, hopefully it being a little shorter.
Roger McDowell, of course, was there, as was Brian Ebel, watching Zach pitch, and that's very promising. So basically what he's been doing, Jim, this has been his spring training. It's all been side sessions and sim games, but now he's about to join AAA Norfolk.
Yeah, and Buck Showalter was talking about how it's obviously different when you get into the game type situations, and then you have runners on base and so on and so on. But he's very, very happy. The Achilles stage felt great, and that's the one he lands on. I mean, he's been throwing since really late February in spring training, but not off the mound. He wore a boot for a while, so he's just 60-day disabled list is towards the end of the month. I think the 28th. So that's when he's eligible to come off, and it'll probably be within a week if everything goes well from that point. And then the bullpen will get a lot better.
Strike 3 called, high strike. We haven't seen many of those today. That is number 7 for Banda.
Oh, there's our Nissan pitch cast, and you can see him bring it down. Well, Andrew Susak knows. I mean, he brought it way down, and you're right about, again, here we are in the 8th inning, and that's the first high strike called.
So here's Craig Gentry, 1 out and nobody on. Craig is 0 for 2. And a nice thrill for those 6 minor leaguers who came up from Sarasota. Steve Wilkerson, Luke Ringhofer, J.C. Escara, Tyler Coolball, Scott's son, who's in the Orioles system, William Yan, and Adam Hall, who was just drafted last year. So they get out of the heat and the rain in Sarasota today, and they come up into a big league ballpark, and they get to dress in a big league clubhouse. They were really excited.
And be put into a slump by Zach Britton.
Robertson gets Gentry and 2 quick outs. Well, fans, the Orioles are proud to join Johns Hopkins, the University of Maryland, and other corporate leaders to support Baltimore City's Youth Works program, which seeks to provide as many as 12,000 Baltimore City youth with summer employment. To donate, visit BaltimoreCityFoundation.org and choose Mayor's Office of Employment Development Youth Works. And to learn more, visit youthworks.oedworks.com. Another bouncer to third. That throws low, and it's scooped out by Miller. Birds go 3 up, 3 down in the 8th. Wes Stock became the only O's pitcher to win both games of the doubleheader. It came in a sweep of the Indians in Cleveland. Stock entered the game in the 5th inning of Game 1, worked 2 perfect innings. Orioles went on to win it 10-6. Then in Game 2, he pitched the final 3 innings as the O's broke a tie in the 8th inning and went on to win that one 6-1. So that was Wes Stock, and there's Wes back in 1963.
Yeah, I missed him about a year. I came in '65. He was pitching for Kansas City. He went 19-4 out of the bullpen with a 3.60 ERA for the Orioles. So he had a nice career, and I think he was a pitching coach later on for Kansas City.
Carlos Gomez facing Miguel Castro. Slider, he lays off. There is no activity in the Tampa bullpen, so it looks like Bonda may have a chance to close this out.
Well, if it keeps swinging at first pitches, and he made so, he's getting ahead, he's forcing you. Especially, the Orioles are what struck. I have 9 strikeouts. You, of course, have the perfect scorecard, so you'll be.
Let's see, 7 plus 3 is 10.
10. So it's worse than I thought. 10. Well, yeah. And how do you do that? You throw strike 1. If you only have 3 hits, you're saying, well, they've been too aggressive. But part of that, again, if you're Kyle Snyder, the new pitching coach down here, after Jim Hickey left for the Cubs, he's really happy. They're throwing strikes. We're an aggressive hitting team, talking about the Orioles, and they've made outs.
And there's a leadoff walk. So the second walk allowed by Castro since he came on last inning. Fans, MLB At Bat is your #1 Orioles app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Customize your Orioles home screen icon, plus features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today. A young Oriole fan.
Yeah, that helmet of ice cream got passed away, and he went over to talk to his dad.
Wants another one. Ref Snyder has a perfect day going in the #9 spot. Falls behind 0-2.
Yeah, that's a nice little sinker, because if you hit it, you're going to hit it on the ground, probably right at somebody. Because I have no interest in trying to hit those 2 pitches.
Bounce to short. Manny to Scope. Back to first. And safe is the call at first. Oh, that was bang, bang. Yeah. Ref Snyder hustling down the line.
Well, he's got good speed. Then ball's away. And, of course, Scope's, the arm is the big equalizer. So let's see. Yeah. Great angle right here to see. That foot down, it appeared. They may be looking at it. Oh, I don't know that he may be out. Yeah.
Yeah, and they are going to challenge. Why not?
Well, take a look right here. Foot not down. Yeah, you're out.
It was a strong throw, as always, from Scope.
Well, it was a BB. Got a rocket arm.
Mark Wegner on your left. He's the umpire who made the call. He's also the crew chief for this series. Jim Reynolds with his back to you, the other umpire listening in.
Of course, when you look at first basemen, and Trey Mancini came up playing first. So he's a big kid, longer arms. And now you can see the ball in the back of the webbing of the glove, and the foot's not down. Now, whether they'll see that in New York, you can actually see through the webbing and see the whiteness of the ball. Remember, I guess when they first started doing the challenges, the glove had to be in the pocket, or it had to just be, and now it has to be in the glove, and you could see it actually hitting the webbing, the white against the dark glove. Now, whether that's enough to overturn it, we'll see. Yeah, the fact that Ref Snyder can run makes it close. Otherwise, it's a routine double play.
And the verdict is he's out. So 6-4-3 on the double play.
Yeah, perfectly turned. Fast runner. Couldn't do it early on because they didn't get the good feed, and this time it was nicely done.
So that erases the leadoff walk and clears the bases. Nice stretch by Mancini. Machado got it going to Scope and back to Trey. Here's Brad Miller. Foul ball, strike one. That's his changeup at 88.
There's Chaz Rowe. He's got him from the Yankees, and he's been around. They got him from Atlanta.
There's a chopper. Castro bobbles it, and Miller's going to reach. I think it bounced up a little quicker on that turf than he thought.
Young, so you kind of hurry it. I mean, those are the kind of plays when it's right out there, especially on turf. You just kind of wait. I mean, just go get it. You don't. There's no hurry. So he gets the short hop, and that's where the downfall of this play is. He could have taken a step back, but again, you have to get the reps. You do all the fielding drills, but you know, usually, even though the Orioles do have a turf field, it's hard to replicate those type of plays in spring training.
So Miller on as the inning continues. Here's C.J. Cron. Cron had the big hit in that rally in the second. There was a 3-0 game, and he came through with a 2-run double with 2 down to make it 5-0.
Well, he scored Refsnyder because of where he hit it all the way from first. And I mean, we scored a double, I guess, but it was kind of like a long single because it, you know, wasn't up the gap. It just
skied to shallow right. Rickard and Scope. And Rickard calls and makes the catch, and that'll do it. Here we go. We head to the 9th. Birds down by 4. Here's Chaz Rowe to try to get the final 3 outs.
Well, the Orioles wanted to start raining some runs because they are down by 4. And Chaz Rowe, great slider. It's been a little bit of a struggle lately. Much better here. 1.42 ERA at home, 6.55 away. You can see, you know, lefties actually has pitched very well. I mean, go all the way back to 2005, first round draft choice, 32nd pick by the Rockies. You know, and stops in between. Also played in the Independent League back in 2012. At times pitched well for the Orioles. You know, when the slider's going, he is tough against righties.
Adam Jones will lead it off.
And again, you know, the velocity's always been pretty good, 92 to 94. That pitch at 94. Sometimes the command can be in and out. So the Orioles are looking for a little bit of help. Because again, you know, it started with bringing in Stanek against the righties. Now you bringing a righty against the righties.
Ooh, look out. He says it hit him. Mike DeMuro didn't see it.
Well, let's see. You think he would have heard it? Yeah, it looked like it got the left arm. So let's see. I mean, if you're Adam, yeah, all it has to do is hit the uniform. So again, if the camera and if they see it in New York, so you're looking for base runners.
Well, the usual indication is, did it change direction? And it appeared that it did. Watch as it goes near the glove of Ramos.
Well, he just doesn't get anywhere. I mean, it's so far inside it goes off the edge of the glove. But I think again, it won't change direction if it just hit the, you know, your undergarment, which is your sweatshirt type apparel. But if you can see that, that's all it takes.
They sure do have some sound system here.
Huh? What?
I like Bon Jovi, but I don't know if I need it that loud.
Nope.
And they point the home plate, so they didn't see anything. Adam Jones has something to say to Mark Wegner as he goes by. So they didn't have anything that would convince them that the call was incorrect.
And that's all it takes.
And it's not Wegner's fault. It's folks in New York. But Adam must have felt it, so he's upset that he's not awarded first base, because as Jim pointed out, when you're down by 4 in your last at bat, you need base runners.
Well, let's see if he's taken here 2-0. Nope. Not like the old days when you're trying to get on. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm talking about what are the icons over the last, what, 11 years here. But I just think you have to make him throw a strike. And just the fact, because I've been out there, of knowing that. I mean, you still want to assume a stance because the umpire has to have a frame of reference to your strike zone, but make him throw it over. I mean, it was a strike. But I just know that sometimes, because Jazro's been around long enough, because of the Colomé trade to Seattle, he's maybe going to be the closer, or they'll do it. So you got, you know, Alvarado, who throws, you know, close to 100. You got Romo, who's going to warm up today and then maybe start tomorrow, or maybe not.
Well, he's listed.
Yeah, well, he's listed, but so we'll see.
2-2 on Jones.
And it's amazing because he has such a good slider, and I'm sure in the back of your mind, of course, that's what you have to do with 2 strikes. He's thinking, Jonesy's going, well, he's got to throw me a slider, but he didn't. Able to foul it off.
A little different look for Chaz since he was with the O's. The hair longer, he's got the beard going. He's found the home of the race.
Yeah, and he gets it. There's a slider. It can make, it's been known, that was one that was up, but it's known to make a left turn right about the front edge of the corner. I mean, this one just doesn't really get on top of it, but it still goes away. And of course, Adam tips his hat to Wegner, like he's the one that decided it didn't hit him. Right there. There you go. Thank you. Well, he made an attempt to try to get on.
Manny to center field right off the end of the bat. Mallex Smith, 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Raised tank, popular feature here at the Trop. It's down to Scope.
Yep. Runs difficult to get on the road. A little over 3.5. I mean, it started what, Monday? You win 3-2, then you lose 3-2, then you get beat 11-1. Then you have a nice offensive early on. They didn't score the last 4 runs, but they 4 innings in Chicago, but they scored 10 runs. Then they won 2-0 last night.
Chopper to third. There's Duffy, and the Rays have evened up this series. So it sets up a rubber game for tomorrow. Chaz Rowe comes on in a non-save situation, and he retires the side in order. Our final score at Tropicana Field on this Saturday afternoon: Tampa Bay wins it, Rays 5, Orioles 1.